Today I'm trying to finish up all the wall panels in the van. And one of the things I keep leaving behind is these back doors. I cut the wall panels for the rear doors and I decided to go with a full sheet. So this full sheet is going to go up here just like that. You got to make sure that you don't interfere with the locking mechanism on the top or the bottom. And on the bottom, there's an adjustment down here that you don't want to cover up to adjust the door and making sure that the door fits tight. So you got to be careful of that. Now, in these two areas right here, I'm going to back up this wall panel, and behind it there will be a 1/2 inch sheet of plywood. That way I can drill into it and I can attach hooks or things to hang shoes, hang wire, cable, anything that I need to hang from this, because there is about a 4 to 6 inch distance between the door and the bed. Especially down here in the garage area, there might be a lot of space where I could hang a hose if I wanted to. So always making sure that whatever I'm doing, I have lots of options in the future, making sure I build into the background the things that will allow me to have those options. And in this case, backing up this panel with a 1/4 inch sheet of plywood. How am I going to hold this wall panel onto the van door? Well, down here there were holes already that I drilled out just a little bit larger and put in a 1/4 inch 20 rib nuts. So I put rib nuts in every single one of the holes. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to use those holes, put the bolts in these holes, put a little bit of paint on them, and then press that panel up to get the location of where I need to drill the holes in the panel. Then I'm going to put that panel up there with those holes and those rib nuts up on this and bolt it all in. And after I do that, I'll find a location for my other holes that I will drill and put rib nuts in to hold the panel up against the door. I'm doing everything with rib nuts. There is not a single sheet metal screw in this entire build. Sheet metal screws are great, but if you put them in and take them out once or twice, they lose their grip. They make the hole bigger, and I want to be able to take this apart, put it back together again, and I don't want to run into any problems. So throughout this entire build, you'll see lots and lots of rib nuts, and most of those rib nuts are 1/4 20. Standardizing on that size just makes things a lot easier throughout the entire build. When I started this, I used to use a paintbrush when I touched up the holes I drilled for rib nuts, but I discovered a Q-tip works a lot easier, much more efficient, and it lets me get to the back real easy. Put a little paint even where I can't see it. And while this paint is still wet, I like to try to get the rib nut on, and then it seals up all around it, hopefully making a nice airtight seal. Now that rib nut right there is a little off at an angle, so it may not be the tightest one, but to hold this wall panel on, it'll still work. Same with this one. It's a little bit of a curve right there, but we're just holding the wall panel in place, so it shouldn't be a problem. And these are needed because of the curvature of the door. So putting them in the right place is really important, because if you pay attention to the curvature, you can put fewer in, and that's a good idea. The fewer the better. And that is the last rib nut. So before I put the reinforced backing, before I put the backing 1/4-inch plywood in these two areas onto the wall panel, I'm going to see if I can get the wall panel to fit properly, get all the rib nuts in. I've said this several times. If you're going to build a van, be prepared to not do things once or twice. Sometimes you got to do things 3 or 4 or 5 times just to get it right, if you want it right. I could just put this up here and screw it on with some self-tapping machine screws. But in my opinion, that's not going to be right. It's not going to last in the long run, and I may end up with some vibration and things along the way. And I don't want that. So I've had to put this up here many times before it's actually going to be final. And I'm okay with that, because I know when it's done, it'll be right the way I feel it should be done when it's finally over with. Plus, I got the time. All right, let's see if this old man can get this thing up here before it gets dark out or it starts raining. Not sure which is going to come first. Okay, that's one in the bottom. There we go. Alright, probably should work my way up. Ooh. You can't see it on camera there, but it's starting to rain. I'm feeling a light rain already. Alright, now we just need a little encouragement. That one looks like it lines up perfectly too. I need some more bolts. Oh yeah, that's good. This worked out really well. It fits nice and curved right to the door, and that's because I paid real close attention in where to put my rib nuts, so I didn't have to put a lot of them in and still make it hug the contour of the door. It's starting to get dark. Got to start doing some cleaning up before the mosquitoes come out and start feeding. So tomorrow we'll work on the second one, and when they're both completed, we'll take them all apart and put that 1/2-inch sheet of plywood behind the 2 cavities in the door, so that I have something to screw into, to put some hooks or maybe a little shelf or a little cubby of some sort when we get this van finished. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Think about subscribing and hit that little notification bell, and you'll know every week when I put out a new video. Thank you for watching. Hopefully, you'll see me on the next one.